I could be like Bob Garner and say, but it is good. Y'all help yourselves. What a pleasure it is to be with everyone. I spent some time in the early days of the pandemic trying to replicate my grandmother's hot biscuits. So I was more or less starting from scratch and from what I could remember. So I did a lot of research. So I'm going to share my own way of making biscuits with you, and I hope you enjoy it very much. Let me get underway, and I'm going to pull out the mixing bowl that I have kept in the bottom of the freezer. A key to a decent biscuit is the ingredients other than the flour need to be cold. And there is only one flour for hot biscuits, and that is White Lily self-rising flour. You must get White Lily. It's a softer flour, and you just must have White Lily. The way that you get your flour out of the White Lily bag is important. You don't want to stick the measuring cup down in the bag and just scoop. One of your goals is to keep the flour from being compacted, because if the flour is not compacted, the shortening will distribute itself better across the flour. You don't have to sift the flour, but I like to sift the flour because, again, it avoids any clumping and it causes the flour to sort of aerate. The flour's going to get out all over everything, and that's just the way it is. If you want a decent biscuit, flour's going to be everywhere. Yeah, that's good enough. So you've got a very nice, sifted, kind of light feeling flour here. It feels like there's air in the flour. I have put 2 sticks of unsalted butter in the freezer, and I put them in there probably 3 days ago. Now you can do it overnight, but I wouldn't do it less than overnight. It does not matter whether it's salted or unsalted. It doesn't matter whether it is Harris Teeter store variety butter or whether it's something fancy that you got at the Whole Foods. It just needs to be butter, and it needs to be hard. This is probably the greatest secret of this foolproof biscuit recipe. You get you a box grater. Use the largest hole side of the box grater and just grate your butter straight on in there. What this does is it creates little curls of butter, which then will be able to distribute themselves among the flour. This bowl belonged to my great-grandmother, Cora Fetna Barker Martin. It probably dates from about 1935. And my mother gave me this several years ago. And while I'm sure the bowl doesn't matter a lot, it matters to me to always use this to make my biscuits in. Normally I would do this in the sink. If you put it in the sink, the butter won't fly all over the place, but I'll clean it up before Carol gets home. Once you get some butter in, take your hand and just by hand mix it around. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bowl, and it's going in the freezer for 15 minutes. I'm about to take the mixing bowl and the flour and butter mixture out of the freezer. Before I do that, I'm just going to take some White Lily that I reserved over here and just spread it over my work surface. Now, I don't know which critical tip number we're on at this point, but I'm about to give you another one. Buttermilk. It doesn't matter what brand it is, but you must get whole fat buttermilk. Down here in the mixture, and I create a crater in the middle of the flour. A cup and a half is going to go into this crater. I use a knife, a table knife, to combine the flour and butter with the buttermilk and just slice it through. I've mixed this buttermilk in pretty well, and I see that there's dry bits of flour around here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to pour enough that feels good. So this is what the dough will look like once you have mixed in the buttermilk. It's just looks like a lot of curds almost, if you will. Okay, so now I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna pour it out right here. And I'm going to knead my dough. And I put the dough into a sort of a loaf shape. And I do not use a rolling pin, just your hands. And I make it about like that. And then I take this half and flip them on top of each other and turn it around. Now I'm going to do this 5 times. Each time I do it, I can feel the air. I can hear it inside the dough. Now this is still very cool to the touch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my palm of my hand and just further press out the dough. Get out a cookie sheet, any cookie sheet will do, and put parchment paper in the cookie sheet. This is very important. This is a lesson in culture that I'm about to talk about. My great-grandmother's cutters, family biscuits, company biscuits. Little small dainty biscuits are for Sunday dinner when you have the rector or the minister over. This is for breakfast every day. Since these friends that I have here from the law school who are helping me to do this are valued company, I'm going to do company biscuits. You want to have a side basin of flour and dip your cutter into the flour each time. I put them pretty close to each other. I want them to, they're a family. I want them to feel the rising going on in their neighbors. I mean, just look at that. If you could just see the layers from the side of this, it hadn't even gone in the oven yet. There's about 100 layers in there. I mean, my great-grandmother, biscuits were, if not an every meal event. I mean, you would occasionally have cornbread, but biscuits were, it was just constant. I mean, she how much of her life did she spend making biscuits? That's my great-grandmother, I mean, who was the owner of the bowl. I just melted about a half a stick of butter. I don't need nearly that much. I did too much. And I'm just taking my little thing here and I'm going to dot each biscuit on the top with a touch because there's never been enough butter in this world. These are going to go in there and within 2 minutes they're going to pop as high as possible. Know your oven because everybody's oven is a little bit different. If you're using an oven that you've never been there before, watch. It's going to take them about 15 minutes, but whether it takes them 13 or 17 is a function of the oven. While the biscuits are cooking, you start your country ham. And I have Ray's country ham from Ray Good, our graduate. And Ray's ham is wonderful because it's very lean and it's a wonderful smoked flavor with not a lot of salt. What I'm going to do is make red-eye gravy. This is coffee that I took out of the pot this morning. And red-eye gravy is just the ham drippings plus some coffee. So I'm going to just take a little bit of this coffee. And this is red-eye gravy. This right here is a beautiful jar of North Carolina wildflower honey produced by the Davis Apiary and given to me by the incomparable Jill Davis, made by her husband. So we're going to have honey with our biscuits. And then this is, as you can tell, there isn't much left, but I'm going to share some of this spiced peach jam with everybody by an elementary school teacher of mine that I've kept up with, and it is mighty fine. You can also have, because there's never been enough, some more butter. So they should come out looking about like that. They should have some crust, but they should be feather light on the inside, just like you can taste how light that flour was. I could be like Bob Garner and say, but it is good. Thank you all for joining me for this. I hope these biscuits are fun for you to make for yourself and your family. Thank you all very much. Pleasure to be with you. she comes home and sees butter all over the place, and we'll have to mop this floor. I usually get it as close as I can, but then I don't want to hurt myself, so, because then I can't play the piano. As you can see, I've got curls of butter all over my shirt, but again, cost of doing business. I don't know why low-fat buttermilk even exists. I don't know whose idea it was for it to exist, but it is worthless as far as biscuits are concerned. If you're watching your weight or whatever, just take a break. I mean, I'm on a perpetual break, so just pass that under your nose for a second. It'll fix you up pretty good. That ham is some protein.